Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Hello, monsters. Good afternoon, and welcome to the show that made FM Philippine Radio Talk, KBP's best podcast program, heard on Thursdays on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1. I'm your host, Rhea Rams, and when you hear the word tarot, you might picture fortune telling, crystal ball, superstition, or maybe even a little bit of mystery. But tarot is more than just predictions. It's a mirror. It's a tool for reflection and a way to connect more deeply with ourselves and with the world around us. Our guest today knows this very, very well. What started as a personal practice grew into a calling, guiding others through the cards, the archetypes, and the wisdom that they hold. Today, we are going to talk about how tarot really works, why it resonates with so many people, and what it can reveal about the energy of the moment that we are living in. And yes, you can also expect a little magic because our guest today will also be sharing a collective reading for the end of September and the rest of the year, giving us a glimpse of the themes and lessons ahead. Heard on Thursdays, let's welcome to the show tarot reader CJ Francisco of the Imaginarium Tarot.
Hello, I am back.
We are so excited to have you here, CJ. Welcome again.
You.
Welcome back to the show. Now, to get us started, can you please introduce yourself to those people who don't know you yet?
All right, so I am CJ Francisco. I am the Imaginarium Tarot. So I created this way back in 2019, and I've been professionally reading since 2019, but I've been reading for myself and friends since I was like 12.
Oh, what?
So I've been into this for a while.
Okay. Now, beyond being a tarot reader, I know you also design your own decks, which is just so cool. How do you describe the work that you do?
The work that I do is very light, I think. It's very light. It's very playful. It's a mirror, essentially. I think that's what I try to do. I try to reflect back at people what they already know, but sometimes it's a nice reminder. And the way I do it, particularly with my cards, it's always very fun. It's very light. The way my cards are illustrated, it's a very storybook kind of situation where it's very friendly. I mean, it's also my energy.
Okay.
So it's a very fun and very playful situation.
I
don't
that.
scare. I don't want people to be scared of tarot. I want people to be like, oh, okay, a tarot reading. It's something that I will I'll get something more like a more in-depth understanding of myself, not like a scared, oh no, what am I gonna do?
Right. It's more guidance for you.
More guidance, exactly.
All right. Now, you mentioned that you started tarot reading at 12.
Yes.
How did that happen? Like, let's take it back to the beginning. How did tarot first enter your life? Like, was it something that you stumbled into at 12 years? I mean, at 12.
Yeah.
How does a 12-year-old get into tarot reading?
Well, Harry Potter, Charmed, it was a lot of that.
Okay.
But the main thing was Fully Booked used to have walls of tarot decks.
Okay.
Like back in 2005, 6 or one of around that time. So I was around 12 or 11, 12, 13, one of those ages. And then I would just see all of these really nice artworks and I was like, wow, this is so cool. I want one. So I was really drawn to it mainly because of the artwork. And then when I first got my deck, it really influenced how I started creating my artworks. And I guess it just made sense that I created my own deck years later.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing that I was drawn to. And before it was more of like, ooh, something different, something subversive. Because I was that rebel kid. Who tell me don't do something, I will do it even more. So that was kind of it. But the main thing was more of like, ooh, I like the art. And then when I started reading for myself, again, it was very much by the book, but I had a hard time figuring it out. Like, well, I kind of get it, but I also don't. So it was very by the book. And then up until so it was kind of on and off in my life for the longest time. But then when I got to 2019, I realized my biggest fear in life was that as an artist, I would start a million projects but never finish them.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people can relate to
Right.
that. Like, they'll
Definitely.
start something, and then the next thing you know, it's been 10 months later and there's no progress.
Right.
So I challenged myself, what's something big that I can do? And 78 artworks is a big challenge
Mhm.
because that's
Mhm.
how many artworks there are in a deck.
Okay.
And they're all very different. They all mean completely different things. So I was like, okay, I'll do this. I'll take on the challenge. And then I did the first. So the tarot is divided into two sections: the majors and the minors.
Okay.
So the majors have 22 cards. The minors have 56.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes. Math.
Yeah, I was like, the math seems right.
The math seems correct. Yes. So that happened, and then I was like, okay, I'll do the first 22 cards, and then we'll take it from there if I'm gonna continue the rest or not. So I breezed past the 22 cards in like 8 weeks. So, and those were like a foot by 6 inches.
Oh, they're big.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I finished that, I was like, "Wait, wow, this is amazing! I'm gonna try doing the rest."
Right.
And then 4 months, the whole thing took me 4 months to make,
Hmm.
and it was kind of amazing because I've never done a project to this scale with that much detail, with that much structure involved. Because I had to like really carve out time. Okay, on this day I have to do X amount of artworks already,
Hmm.
and creating a schedule for myself was very counterintuitive as a creative. I was like, I want to do it when I feel it.
Right.
But I realized you need structure. So the whole tarot process for me was like, okay, there is a lot of well, no, the creative side actually was
Mhm.
more of like, okay, there needs to be a little bit more discipline. There needs to be a bit of focus
Yeah.
when you're gonna create this, or else it's not gonna come out when you need it to or when you want it to.
Hmm.
So it was nice. It was a nice learning process for me. And then when I finally completed it, I was like, wow, this is a huge accomplishment. I
Mhm.
like it. And it's kind of wild because when I started the whole project, it was more of just me like, okay, I want this to be for myself.
Right.
But the intention really was to make the tarot deck not scary at all. It needs to be friendly so that other people can be, more comfortable around it.
Definitely.
Right?
Because when you get cards like death or what's the devil,
The devil, the tower.
it's like,
you're like, what's happening?
Yeah. And I've seen artworks before that were a little bit, they were darker. But if you guys have seen Chase's cards, they are very, I would say mystical is the word.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just it's so approachable. Yeah. So that's you.
And the art style was Renaissance. And during that time period, I think this was around grade 7. I think I was 13. My art style was very leaned heavily on into the Renaissance period. I loved how my history geek was like, ooh, costume periods. This is cool. And then I started illustrating a lot of that. It also illustrated. The colored pencil was a lot of my medium back then. And then I was super drawn to this mermaid deck, but I never got it for some reason. Like, I was always just for someone to give it to me, but no one ever did.
Mhm.
But I was always like, oh, I want this one. It's so pretty, watercolor mermaids.
Right.
And then that never happened. But like, whatever. So I just made my own.
That's perfect.
The vibe of each deck actually is very, very different.
Mhm.
And you do use different decks for different purposes. For like, also it depends on, like, again, the illustrations, but how you connect. There are some decks that look so pretty, and I've seen some, but they're so hard to read.
I see.
Like, how do you like reading, think of it as you're trying to get, so you've got pictures right next to each other.
Uh-huh.
Think of it as like a storyboard.
Okay.
So imagine it's a movie. Like you're playing it out, and then when you have your pictures next to each other, you kind of understand, okay, this is one scene. How does it lead to the next? And how does it lead to next? If you think of it as a movie perspective, it makes sense, right?
Right.
Because there is a storyline that you're trying to follow and all. Now, when you're reading, it's sort of the same way because certain symbols, certain images are popping out to you. Like in this one card, if you see like, oh, there's a flower here, I'm kind of zeroing in on that. It makes sense. And then why does it make sense? So you're gonna start uncovering a little bit of meaning to that, and then you'll connect it to the next card.
Okay. So each okay, because I assume that if a card, like let's say the pentacle, like what it
Yeah.
tama ba?
Yeah. Yes.
Let's say the pentacles, I thought like each pentacle card all meant the same thing. The theme is the same,
theme is the same.
but the artwork kind of shifts its reading, the way
Mhm.
that it's read a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so basically the artwork in a tarot card influences the reading.
Mhm.
So the deck of cards that you have actually is very important to
The reading.
the reading,
Yeah.
like the design of the deck.
Mhm.
Interesting. That's not something I ever thought like had an impact on readings.
Yeah. It's funny because like, I mean, everyone has personalities, and the decks also have different personalities. So me, I have mine, which is very fun, very colorful, very playful. And I have another one that's my favorite. It's the complete opposite of this deck. It's very dark. It's very witchy. It's very Victorian Gothic situation. And it's like, I use that when I wanted to get into a little bit more deeper, like more serious stuff.
Right.
But if I'm just like, oh, let's go into playful, or if I want to hear the message as like a pretty light situation, then I'm gonna go to this one.
Okay. All right. Well, monsters, you are listening to Heard on Thursdays. I am your host, Rio Rams, and today we are talking about how tarot really works, why it resonates with so many, and what it can reveal about the energy of the moment we are living in with CJ Francisco of the Imaginarium Tarot. We are going to be back in just a little bit, so make sure to stay tuned only here on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1.
The Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Monster RX93.1. Welcome back to Heard on Thursdays. It's me, Rhea Rams, and today we are talking about how tarot really works, why it resonates with so many, and what it can reveal about the energy and the moment that we are living in with none other than CJ Francisco of the Imaginarium Tarot.
Hello.
All right, so before we get into the readings, let's start with the basics. Okay, for people who are listening who only know about tarot through stereotypes, aka fortune telling, scary cards like the death or the devil or crystal balls, how would you explain what tarot really is?
So tarot, more than, I mean, yes, it is kind of predictive, but more than that, it is a tool for introspection. It helps you figure out things that you already know, but it's kind of nice to hear from like a different perspective. Honestly, I use it for trying to help people understand a little bit more about themselves. And also me personally, I use it a lot for when I have issues and problems. Like I'm going to pull out some cards to understand things maybe from an outside perspective. Because sometimes, I mean, yes, we have our friends there, but also sometimes it's nice to hear like, okay, what is my subconscious trying to tell me? It's not like, okay, maybe dispelling whatever. It's like some people say that like the devil's behind it or like whatever, but no, it's more about your subconscious.
Okay.
It's tapping into your intuition. So it's a different kind of intelligence than what we're led to, you know, the usual. So it's more of you tapping into your intuitive side or someone else tapping into theirs and reading for you.
Okay.
So how does that work? I think the best way to describe it is like a Venn diagram. Like this is your energy and this is mine. So when we're doing a reading, we're kind of connected because we have this little moment we're sharing. So it intersects, it overlaps. So what I'm picking up is your energy and our energy is kind of like mixing. So it doesn't have to be like face to face because, you know, energy works very differently. We can be like miles apart, but it's still going to be a relatively accurate reading because we still do have that connection, right? Yeah.
Okay. Now, my question is, I'm sure there are a lot of skeptics when it comes to tarot, right?
Yeah.
And you say it's about energies and being able to connect with the energy of the reader and the energy of the readee.
Yeah, sure.
Readee.
Sure.
So I'm sure skeptics are like, no, it's just random. It's coincidence. It's maybe the tarot reader guessing, but come on.
Yeah.
Even TikTok videos sometimes of those tarot readings are so on point. They resonate so well. So how exactly does it work? Like where do you get the reading from if not random?
Okay. So for me, how I believe it works, honestly, it is a lot of what's that term? I keep forgetting what that term is, but usually like words and things still kind of like resonate with you, right? Now when they start resonating with you, then you're like, okay, this makes sense to me. I like that. And it feels correct. Then you pick that up and you're like, okay, I like this. But when something's kind of bad and kind of negative, and you're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't want to hear that. That's not for me. Then you're not going to pick it up. So the reason why it does work for you is because it feels like, okay, I'm going to take that. And if it does work, you're like, okay, I'm going to take that as a sign, but also learn how to like filter. Because you can't believe everything you hear, everything that you see all the time. You still have to think properly for yourself. So at the end of the day, if a reading does resonate, it's because you already have that in your head. You're like, oh, I want this. So it's like it's confirmation bias. There it is. That's the word. Like you're trying to find words or scenarios that you're like, okay, that's that's aligned with what I want to happen. And because you want it to happen, you're like, okay, you're starting to see those patterns. And because you see those patterns, you're like, okay, I'll take that. And if it's a good thing, then great. And if it's like something bad, you're like, okay, how do I avoid this? Or how do I make sure that that doesn't happen? So I guess for me, it's always just like, okay, you can hear it, you can you can understand it, you can figure it all out like as it comes. But then at the end of the day, if you're gonna take anything from it, if it's something good, then why push it away?
Right.
Right?
Now, my question is like, for example, the reading is telling telling you or whoever something that they know but don't want to accept. For example, they say, okay, this thing is not for you, or okay, it's not gonna work out, or you have to let go. And they're like, no,
No.
no. Like that's what the reading's saying, but they're like,
No, that's not
I
gonna
don't accept that. Although
It
they
happened.
kind of know, so then doesn't that defeat the purpose of the reading?
Well, okay, so again, you have to be open to whatever is coming, or
Mhm.
like whatever is going to be what's going to be popping out.
Mhm.
Now, if you don't want to hear it, then you'll keep looking for ways to like subvert it. You're gonna figure out how to like, no, that's not true, that's not real, and you'll ask, okay, pull again. You better pull again and again and again,
Until
and then
you
until you hear what you want to hear. But that's not always the case, because sometimes it can see through the readings can see through all of the things that you're trying to hide. Now, if you take it or not, that's completely up to you. I've had readings before for myself.
Okay.
I think I've had readings where I'm like, I'm expecting a certain outcome. There's something that I want, like there's a card that I really want to happen, and it's always just like, nope, not that, not that, not that. I'm like, no, again.
Ubus na yung deck.
Ubus na yung deck.
Is there like a limit as to how many cards you can pull per reading?
Not really, but also like my deck of cards, their personality is very fun and very playful, but once they start getting irritated and annoyed, they do, because they're gonna start throwing out cards that are like, you have no other way to read this but this.
OMG.
Like at first it'll give me like, okay, here's a hint, here's something cute, here's something like maybe it could be something else, and then you're like, no, I want a clear answer. Like, you know what? Here's the clear answer.
That's so interesting that you say the cards have their own personality as well. And I think it's really interesting that you just have to be so open.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're stubborn, then it's not for you at the moment. Maybe it's something that you're not ready to hear, or something that you're just not ready to accept yet.
Yeah. And also, like, I guess for people who like skeptics and all, again, at the end of the day, if you don't believe in it, then it's nothing.
Yeah.
But for people who do believe in it, then it's like, okay, I'll take it. It's fine. It's
right.
something I would be a little bit more softer to receive.
Right.
Right.
But I want to circle back to what you said earlier too, that this isn't supposed to be the only thing that you base your decisions on.
Yeah, because like life.
it's guidance. It's
It
supposed
is.
to, it serves as a guide. It serves as maybe some direction, but it's not something to base all your life decisions on.
It is not. Please don't.
Super interesting stuff. And Monsters, what's even more exciting is in just a little bit, we are going to be getting some collective readings. So make sure to stay tuned. We also are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch, as well as on TikTok. So if you guys have any questions,
send them over.
Yeah, CJ here is ready to answer and pull some cards for you guys. But before we get to that, I'm curious, CJ, how do you prepare for a reading? So do you have any rituals or grounding practices? In your experience, do you have this creative process or practice that just helps you tune in?
Yes, actually. So I do offer these readings called annual readings, which is the whole year, all 78 cards. That's a lot. It's a 2-hour reading. So that's what I usually use to. I usually prep a little bit more for that. So before the reading, I take about 15 minutes. I'm already seated, either on my laptop or before I leave for wherever I'm going to meet up with a person. I take 15 minutes meditation. I just quiet myself, calm down. The whole Palo Santo, the sage situation. I like that because it feels like I'm legit. No, but it also feels like it's very calming. So if I am going to get into a 2-hour reading, I want to be as calm and as present as possible. So I do that little ritual. I also have my crystals, my labradorite, which is actually in my bag.
Okay.
But it's always with me, so it's more of a calming, grounding situation. Actually, that labradorite, I used it here when I was boarding.
I remember.
I was just fiddling with it because my nerves, it helps calm me down. So I'm just like, okay, I'm here, I'm present, and that's pretty much what's the most important thing when you're going to prep for a reading,
Mhm.
or I mean, generally anything. Because when you aren't 100% there, and I have had this experience before where I wasn't really 100% ready or 100% in the reading
Mhm.
before I actually got there. My readings were kind of just all over the place. I was like, what's going on? I could really feel that my energy scattered. And okay, I say energy, but it could also just mean focus. It's like
Right.
my ADHD is just everywhere. So it's very important to just stay present, grounded, because someone is actually paying you for your
Mhm.
time, for your services, and you want to respect that.
Mhm.
Bottom line, it's all about respect. So you have to like calm yourself, compose yourself enough to be to give the best reading and the best advice that you can to the other person.
Mhm. And when it comes to readings, how do you separate your own experiences or your own current situation from the reading that you're giving, or is that kind of tied into it?
It's kind of tied into it, but think of it as you're talking to a friend and you're giving advice. So
Okay.
you have all of your life experiences and all the things that you want to say and share about your life to your friend. But then when your friend is like telling their story and telling their hardships and their issues, yes, you can also be like, hey, this happened to me, I understand. But you don't like suddenly hog the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
You're still trying to look at it from a lens of, hey, okay, so this is what's going through with them at this moment. The cards are kind of saying these things, so these are what I'm picking up, and this is the advice that I think is happening. And if I do feel like it is very much tied into my personal life or something that I have experienced,
Mm-hmm.
then I will share it as well, as as a regular human person
Right,
would,
right.
because that's how we relate. But again, I've also learned how to hold back at
Okay.
times, because when I was reading early on, it was always very much, I'm gonna talk about me now.
Okay.
But I think
Okay.
that's also natural. It's something that also I think I've learned that the ADHD also has had a lot of, I interrupt a lot of people, and so I've learned to hold that in, reel that in. So it does help to like be a bit more self-aware.
Mhm. So it seems like tarot has really helped you also grow as a person.
For sure.
Now, before we get into the readings, I
Mhm.
have one final question for you.
Okay.
Let's say you do readings for friends,
Mhm.
for people you know, or people who've shared personal experiences with you. Does that ever affect the reading? Like maybe you're like, okay, I already know that this is happening in this person's life and this is kind of what they want to hear. Does that affect the reading, or how do you balance that?
Yeah, you know what? That has happened a lot, especially with friends who are
Mhm.
like, I know that they're expecting a certain something, like a certain message to pop up. And if it does, then I'm excited to tell them about it. Be like, yes, of course, that's what the cards are saying. Yes, let's do it. Let's make this happen. But at the same time, sometimes when the cards are saying, it's not what you want to hear, I'm gonna tell them straight up, like,
Okay.
hey, okay, so here's the thing.
I'm gonna hold your hand
Like,
while I say this.
we're gonna, yes, however, like I do try to break it in, especially if it's something not as pleasant. Like, let's say somebody's not the most faithful, or like, and because sometimes they already have their doubt. Oh, you know what? So it's like sometimes people already have their doubts with relationships,
Mhm.
with like, oh, is this person cheating on me? Blah 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 blah. What I always start off with, like, are you sure you want to get into this? Because more than whatever the cards are saying, it's you're already having your doubts. So you're kind of looking for something, another confirmation bias. We're like, oh, I'm gonna look for this. at the end of the day, what I always tell people, especially when it comes to relationship problems, is why don't you, the best person to talk about this is your partner.
Mhm.
Like, these cards can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, you and your partner have to have that discussion, because the reason why you're asking this is already like there's a problem.
Mhm.
And to fix the problem, you have to get everyone involved.
Right. All right. Interesting. So, monsters, I want you guys to prep your questions already, because in just a little bit, right after the break, we are going to get into the readings. Monsters, you are listening to Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Rhea Rams, and today we are talking about how tarot really works, why it resonates with so many, and what it can reveal about the energy of the moment that we're living in, with CJ Francisco of the Imaginarium Tarot. We are going to be back in just a little bit, only here on Manila's Hottest Monster RX93.1.
The Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Manila's Hottest Monster RX93.1. Welcome back to Heard on Thursdays. It's me, your host, Rhea Rams, and today we are talking about how tarot really works, why it resonates with so many, and what it can reveal about the energy of the moment that we're living in, with CJ Francisco of the Imaginarium Tarot. Now, before we get into the readings, we have one question from Irvin, who says, how do tarot and astrology connect? Is there a connection between the two, or are they two separate things?
Well, they are connected. I have not really gone into the whole astrology thing. I found it really complicated. But there are cards that are representative of certain zodiacs.
I see.
So, top of my head, Libra season is the Justice card. And again, Libra's all about equality, fairness, and all that. So that's also what that card symbolizes.
I see.
So yeah, it's kind of connected. I personally have not really explored it, so I'm not really the best person to ask. But there are a lot of other readers who are like, yes, here's your natal chart, and here's the tarot cards, and this is what they mean and how they overlap. Other people do that, but I personally don't. I find it too complicated.
Fair. All right. Well, monsters, let's get into it. Today, we are going to tap into the collective energy. So, CJ, can you pull some cards for us to guide us on what we might expect and focus on from the end of September through the end of the year? But let's do it by theme segment, I guess. So,
Sure.
Let's start with career and finances.
So let's do career and finances for the rest of the year. What's it looking like? You know what? I'm going to pull three cards for this. Is it on the screen?
Hold on. I am struggling here.
There you go. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So let's see. So this is career and finances for the rest of the year, September till December. Now, starting off first with the Four of Pentacles. Where is this camera? There you are. Okay, so starting off with the Four of Pentacles, it feels like it's a good time to kind of save up, which makes sense. It's being more cautious about how you're going to be spending your money, your well-earned money, because the Four of Pentacles is like, how much are you going to be spending? Again, Christmas season, we're kind of all out, which
Yeah.
honestly is okay, but also you have to be more aware of where it's going
Yeah.
because you can't overspend and you don't want to like exhaust yourself too much about it. Now, with the Nine of Wands, this is now the card. There. Okay. So this card basically talks about how we kind of need to take breaks. So financially, I think you have to learn how, again, it's about figuring out how to calm down the spending. But it's also a reminder that like there are a lot of responsibilities. There are a lot of more important things that you need to prioritize. So you gotta figure that out. So I think the rest of the years, it's looking like how do we be more responsible?
Is this just in finances or also with career?
I think it also works with career.
Okay.
Okay, so same,
Mhm.
being a little bit more responsible in how you're expending your energy, right?
Ooh.
Because like money's not the only form of currency. It's not the only form of like what you're gonna spend on. Like you can like your energy wise, like your literal sleep. How much sleep are you getting? How much of you are you capable of actually giving of yourself to other people?
Mhm.
Now the last card is the Emperor, and there it is. Okay, so the Emperor now, it's all about like, okay, how do we manage that? Yes, we can be the best version of ourselves. We can know that the abundance is there, but also knowing like this is what you can offer. So it's more of taking ownership of yourself, your skills, and your finances. So yes, I think a good idea for this quarter, the last couple of months of this year, for your finances is to be a little bit more responsible on how you're actually spending, how you're spending your time, your energy, your resources. I think that's what it's looking like.
Okay, monsters. Any questions? All right. All right. So no questions so far. It looks like everyone's very clear. Okay, now let's move on to maybe passions and hobbies.
Passion, hobby. You know what? So this is my favorite topic.
Okay.
So for me, when I started all of this, it was my leap of faith. It was my I'm gonna quit my advertising job and pursue art and tarot.
Mhm.
And when I was creating the deck, it was more of me like, this is my passion project that I want to get off the ground. I want this to be my thing. And when it finally took off and I started proving to myself, like, you know what? I can actually do this. That's the type of reading that I love. So when people come to me and they're like, hey, I have something that I want to start. I've been so scared to do it. It's been on my mind for years. I want to start it. And I'm like, yes, let's do it.
Okay, so for those who might be confused about what exactly we're referring to when it comes to passion and hobbies, how would you explain to them what exactly are we talking about when we're talking passion and hobbies?
Okay. So this is more of your drive. So we're going to be talking about what lights you up, how much energy you want to give to the world, how much of you want to share. So and that kind of leads into your passions and your hobbies. And because we are more than just our work selves, we also have things that we like to do for fun. We like things that light us up, that bring us joy, essentially. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Like, what are the things? So this reading now is going to be about what are the things that bring you joy.
Okay,
and
let's
how
see.
do we focus on that?
Yeah, let's see. What do the cards have to say? Ooh, let's do some card ASMR.
Oh yeah. ASMR. Can you hear it?
Oh.
Ooh.
Paniran.
Okay, so let's see. Same card. All right. So the same first card popped out is the exact same one as earlier. It's the Nine of Wands.
Mhm.
Now, if we're going to be talking about your passions and your hobbies, the lens of the Nine of Wands says like, you know that all the responsibilities again will always be hanging over your head, but you will need to carve time for yourself. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Sometimes it's really hard. to carve out time for things that bring you joy, because work, because life, because all the responsibilities that we have. But for me, what I'm gonna always advocate for is you have to really take time for yourself, because again, if you can't do things for yourself, if you can't like make sure that you are whole for yourself, how are you going? It's like RuPaul said, if you can't love yourself, how can you love somebody else? But yeah, the responsibilities and will always be there. You can take 5 minutes. You can take 5 minutes for yourself to reset and to feel better. Now, if you are looking into like passion projects or hobbies, yeah, you can definitely carve out a few minutes for that. And hopefully it's like a productive hobby. It's not doom scrolling. Something I get lost in that.
Yep.
2 hours have gone by and I'm like, but something that really brings you joy, even if it's just prepping your coffee, if it is if it's dancing, like if you have the luxury of having an hour to dance or to do to bike, to go to the gym or do something, but something that brings you joy, let that be a sacred moment in your day or even in your week. Like there is an hour at some point within the week that you can take for yourself, I'm pretty sure. Now, the Five of Wands now. This card also does talk about how there might be a lot of, you know what? It's actually the same thing, because the Five of Wands is always about the conflicts, the things that are fighting for your attention. So I feel like towards the latter part of the year, there will need to be a focus on, okay, I am definitely making this happen for myself. I am going to carve out an hour for myself in this entire week. So there's more intention happening instead of just like, well, whenever I have a free moment or whenever I have time that I can spare. Because sometimes when you say that, it gets steamrolled by all the responsibilities. And we just end up not doing anything for ourselves. And it's happened and it will continue to happen. But if you do have that intention of like, you know what? I'm going to set out 1 hour on Saturday just to dance or to do something that brings me joy. That'll bring a lot in your life, actually.
Okay.
Finally, you also have the Six of Cups. And what I love about this, look how cute that is.
That is so cute.
So this card is all about, yeah, there
you go.
you go.
Oh my goodness.
So this card is all about nostalgia. It's all about joy. It is your inner child. So what I'm going to say is that the inner child has to come out to play. Let yourself have fun. Let yourself experience that joy and not police yourself when you're relaxing and when you're enjoying the moment. I saw an Instagram post the other day. It was like, why are there so many millennials now who are like being so cringe and like doing such childish things? And it's like, well, yeah, because we're learning to heal our inner child. We're learning to not give to not care about what other people are thinking and to just enjoy. Like we're at that stage where it's like, yeah, I could be cringe, but also I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So like,
so what?
Am I bothering you?
Yeah.
Am I hurting you? No, I'm having fun. So I think that's what we all need to do. We all need to start collectively just allowing ourselves to have fun and to let other people enjoy what they're doing. Like they're having fun. They're not bothering you. They're not like physically assaulting you. So like there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, if they're not hurting anybody, just let them be.
Exactly.
Right?
Let people let people like what they like.
Oh, love that. Okay, so we have talked about career and finances. We've talked about passions and hobbies. What's next?
You want to go into relationships and your emotions and your relationships.
Okay, I'm sure all the monsters would love that. So let's get right into it.
All right. Oh, and then we're going to close with the issues and problems.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's do that. So why don't we focus on emotions and relationships at this point? Okay. All right. So, emotions and relationships. We'll start off first with the Eight of Swords. Now, the Eight of Swords is a lot of we're putting ourselves in our own prison. So, we have a lot of maybe there are a lot of things that we're thinking of. If it is in a relationship, maybe there are certain rules that that you've been putting on maybe yourself and your partner. Like it's starting to feel a little bit suffocating. So you also have to remember that when you are putting these rules, making sure that these things are not just caging you in. Um, I'm talking about let's say if you are in a relationship with someone, um, love the person how they feel, and sorry, love the person in a way that makes them feel free, and not like you're locking them in. So like, don't like go into their phones, don't look into like, don't wag mo salin, essentially. But this card is also about like, what are the things that you feel like are holding you back? Maybe there's certain things that in your life that you feel like is a rule, or like you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that. And I'm talking now about your emotions. Like, how do you feel about certain situations, and how are you going to navigate through that? Sometimes those situations aren't really, a problem. Like sometimes you can just be like, oh, I don't have to do this and this and this and this. I can just like move past it. It's not a problem that I have to continuously think of. So the Eight of Swords is basically saying, what are the self-imposed limiting beliefs that you've created for yourself, maybe for your partner, for your relationships. And again, does not necessarily just mean romantic. It can also be friends, because sometimes we put a lot of pressure on our friends to deliver certain things and the expectations, and sometimes they don't deliver. But again, we're all human.
Right.
Now, the next card is the King of Pentacles. Now, this card, there you go. So this card basically says you have to learn how to look a little bit more into the future. Forward planning, essentially. How do we manage our emotions now? Because sometimes, yes, the emotions are going to get a little heightened, they're going to get there, but we have to learn how to balance ourselves. We have to learn how to manage how we feel and how we actually relate to other people. Because no emotion is wrong, but how you respond, how you act, that's where things kind of get messy. Right. So what the King of Pentacles says is you have to keep a level head. You have to be able to like learn how to navigate yourself with grace moving forward into the future. So it's a nice little reminder for everyone who is maybe quick to say things. And again, the Five of Wands popped out again. This card now, again, if we're relating it to our emotions and our relationships, it might be a good idea to learn how to harmonize, how to find the happy medium for everyone. How are we going to balance each other's energy? Learn how to give and take, essentially. How are we going to move forward with with that? Like, how do we bring the balance in? Like, how are you going to be heard? How am I going to be heard? And how do we bring this back together? And how do we create this nice harmonious moment again?
Right. Okay, so there we have it. Relationships and emotions.
Yeah.
Now we go to our final collective reading for today, which are issues
and problems. I mean, we've got a lot. We've got, recently actually, I had a moment where I had this unexpected rage, and I don't know where it was coming from. I still actually haven't processed it, but it was like, where did this come from? Like, I don't know why I'm so angry. So maybe we'll figure out why we're here.
Maybe.
That's one thing I love about tarot. It's like, it is another perspective. It is another brain, essentially.
Right.
You know what? Yeah, that's something that I haven't heard about or I haven't figured out, and trying to process it does help. Now, looking into issues and problems, we'll start off first with the High Priestess. Now, there we are. So So the high priestess basically says you have to learn how to trust your intuition a little bit more. Now, oh, this might be stirring up some things, but I think it is also a very good idea to listen to your intuition, because a lot of people won't trust their gut on certain things. And again, this comes back into like, oh, is my partner cheating on me? Is my partner this or that? Um, the fact that you already have the doubt says a lot already. And sometimes it's nice to listen to it, but also you have to be responsible about it. You can't just be like, "Ah, nah, 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 nah."
Yeah.
No, be like, you approach the partner or whoever or whatever problem this is very gently, because you already have that sense that something's up or something's wrong. Now, how you deliver the question is a completely different beast.
Mhm.
So trusting your intuition, but also being responsible about how we convey the message is
That's
something we want to
so
focus on.
interesting because earlier, right, in the earlier reading for relationships,
Mm.
you said to like don't check the phone, etc. And then suddenly this comes up.
Yes. Let's not
Hmm.
create problems. Okay. Now, the next card is the Seven of Pentacles. And the Seven of Pentacles usually talks about how are we going to take time to
Mhm.
make things happen. So I think most of the issues and problems that are going to be happening here need a lot of time to like process.
Mhm.
So if ever you are, and I guess it does relate with the high priestess as well. Like, yes, there are going to be some issues that you're gonna start feeling. And with the Seven of Pentacles is okay, we're looking at this as long-term solutions. How are we going to solve these problems nicely? Lack of better word, nicely. But it is, we're going to look at it as, we're not looking at it as a band-aid solution.
Mhm.
We're looking at things that will feel more um sustainable, basically. Like, how are we going to solve the problem that it doesn't happen again eventually?
Mhm.
Or if we, and then you get your help from the people that you need. You bring in the people who are involved. So if ever you are in a space of an issue where there are some personalities like clashing,
Mhm.
you gotta learn how to like manage the situation.
Okay.
How do we do that nicely? And how do we see eye to eye on good terms for everyone?
Mm.
And finally, we also have the Page of Pentacles. So, what I love about this, though, is that more than issues and problems, I think it will always be there. We'll always have something to complain about, or
Mhm.
a new problem is going to appear. But the focus shouldn't always be just on that. The Page of Pentacles says there are so many other opportunities that are popping up that need your attention more than this issue and problem. I mean, yes, it's also it's a good idea to focus and zero in and solve the problem, but let's not create problems that that aren't really there. So let's not start
Mm.
drama, basically. That's what
Okay.
it's saying.
Okay, so there you have it, monsters. If you guys have any follow up questions, do keep them coming through our lives. That's on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, or TikTok. That's at RX931. You can also send them in over on the text line 0961 Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
that collective reading, CJ. And we are going to be back in just a little bit before we close the show. But monsters, you are listening to Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Ria Rams, and today we are talking about how tarot really works, why it resonates with so many, and what it can reveal about the energy of the moment that we're living in with CJ Francisco of the Imaginarium Tarot. We'll be back in just a bit right here on Manila's Hottest Monster, RX 93.1.
Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1. Welcome back to Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Rhea Rams, and today we are talking about how tarot really works, why it resonates with so many, and what it can reveal about the energy of the moment that we're living in with CJ Francisco of the Imaginarium Tarot. Now, CJ, I really like to end the show with something a little bit more reflective. So, what is one lesson that tarot has taught you about yourself that you carry with you every single day?
Wow. Okay. I love. Thank you for that wonderful question. I think the biggest lesson tarot has taught me was to hold space for people. Like, we're all going through it. We're all going through everything, and you have to give people the space, the grace, and the space to just listen. Sometimes that's what people need. Right? Because I mean, people, like, we'll all go through our things. Sometimes it's also just really nice to sit down, vent a little bit without judgment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've learned throughout my practice. Like, to hold space, to listen and not judge, to learn how to just be the person that they can trauma dump, or they can just like have their thoughts aired out and know that there's no judgment and that they can just be themselves.
Love that. Now, for those who are curious but hesitant, what would you tell them about approaching tarot with openness instead of fear or skepticism?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it is what it is. No, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can be skeptic, you can be afraid, but it is also just advice, or it is just words that someone else is saying. And whether you take it or leave it is completely up to you. If you get something good out of it, like if there's a new perspective that you get from a reading, then why is there a problem? Why are you going to doubt something that feels like, okay, I got something good out of it? Like, okay, maybe there's some truth to this.
Okay. Now, a light one before we close. Do you have a favorite card, either to read or something that you've designed yourself?
Yes, he did pop out earlier. It is the Page of Wands. I'm gonna find him.
Okay.
So the story behind that is, spirit guides. I don't know if people believe in them, but I have them, and he is one of my main ones because. So this is him.
Oh.
So where is there he is. Okay, so this is one of my favorite cards because it represents my spirit guide. His name is Pino.
Okay.
He's a little duende. Story behind this guy is I went to a tarot reader like 2017, 16. And then I asked, like, hey, do I have any spirit guides? And when they did say, oh, you have a duende who's been following your family for a couple of generations, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. How do you know? It's like, okay, this duende of yours says that he's living with you now in your condo. I'm like, I don't live in a condo. And at that time, I was living with, well, not living, but my partner before was like, I was always at his place. So she was like, yeah, he says that you're always at a condo. You live there. But what's cool is back in 2010, apparently my aunt took a photo of her dog, and behind it was like a little duende person. I've never seen this photo. And then when I sketched this guy out, my dad was like, hey, it looks like your tita's duende that she captured in like her phone camera way back in 2010 or 2009. And like, I've never seen this photo. Where is this photo? And then he shows it to me, and then he was like right there behind the dog, and I was like, oh wow. So that might be something. So he's like one of my favorite ones because, well, he's part of my narrative. He's part of my story. And it's always nice that when he makes an appearance, I get a little bit excited.
I love that. I love it. What's his name again?
His name is Pepino.
Pepino. Hi, Pepino. All right. And of course, where can people find you, whether to book a reading or just follow your card designs or just to learn more about tarot?
Yeah, so if you want to follow me on my socials, it's Imaginarium Tarot on Instagram. It's not. I'm not on Twitter. I'm sorry. No, just kidding. Yeah, just on Instagram. So it's Imaginarium Tarot on Instagram.
All right, and that is it for us. CJ, thank you so much for joining us today. This conversation was so insightful. It was very, very creative and also eye-opening. You know, it gave us a little bit more insight and context as to what tarot really is and why it shouldn't be scary.
Shouldn't be afraid of it.
Yeah. And I think this is going to inspire a lot of people to see tarot in a whole new light. Once again, Monsters, this has been Heard on Thursdays with me, Ria Rams. Today, we talked about tarot, creativity, and collective energy with tarot reader and deck designer CJ Francisco of the Imaginarium Tarot. Catch us again next week, only here on Manila's Hottest, Monster RX93.1.
Monster exclusive interview. Monster exclusive interview. Only from Manila's Hottest. Monster RX93.1.